we're heading. All right, friends, the road to Italy is officially real with Team Canada's selections announced last week on January 23rd. And I'm sitting down with Melissa Lotholz. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Two-time Olympian and Team Canada bobsleigh athlete is before the team heads to Milano on Saturday. We're talking about what this moment means and how she's preparing to represent Team Canada. Melissa, how are you feeling?
I'm excited. Yeah, it's been a really fun week with being home with team announcements, connecting with family and friends, reconnecting with some sponsors and supporters who have made this whole journey possible. And of course, we've had the launch of Redemption Run as well. So it's been a very full 12 days, and we're getting ready to jump on a plane this weekend and go to Italy.
Incredible. That show, I had the opportunity to sit down with Tyson last week, and I was just speaking a few hours ago with Justin, and the footage and not just how beautiful it looks visually, but it's also so much heart, because so many individuals just get to see the results, the scores, and how the athletes are doing without really knowing what is really happening in their minds, the struggles that they have to overcome. How important do you think it was to do this deep dive into the training aspect for the athletes and showcase their journeys?
Yeah, I think there's so much, especially in the sport of bobsled, that happens behind the scenes. So to get to share that process, that journey, it really shows, yeah, the human side of it. It helps us share our story. It shares our love of the sport. It shares how the sport works, which is also really important because, I mean, we're tobogganing at hundreds of kilometers per hour, racing to hundreds of a second. And so if you tune in once every 4 years to watch it at the games, like you don't have a full appreciation of what goes on behind the scenes and what it takes to compete at an elite level. And so getting to have this deep dive of Redemption Run into some behind the scenes of what it takes to compete at the highest level, and even just like the crazy that we put ourselves through in terms of not only bobsledding itself, but the team dynamics and the struggles of, behind the scenes of what it means and looks like and costs to be able to compete. I really hope that as Canadians get to watch this, they'll have a deeper appreciation and passion for the sport, just like we do.
Incredible. Yes, I think you guys are like the real life, excuse me, action heroes. Like I work in film and television and media. And, I see a lot of the stunt folks who, prep and put their bodies through a lot. But y'all are doing it for real. Like this is happening in real time, and anything can happen.
Totally.
I'd love to hear what was your honest first reaction when, on Friday when your name was called out, because I got to see that on Instagram.
Yes.
I can only imagine to know that you're going to be representing Canada on this global scale. Everyone's going to be tuning in. Fans are flying in from all over the world to support you guys. And there's something in the air right now. Everyone's like the patriotism in Canada is really bursting. So how did it feel for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's my third games, but the excitement doesn't fade. It's such an honor. It's like a lifetime dream. I had this journal entry when I was like a 12-year-old, and I was like, God, would you make that silly dream of the Olympics come true? And it wasn't silly because the Olympics is a silly thing to do. It was silly because even at the age of 12, it already felt far reaching and something that was impossible for somebody like me. And so to be living out that childhood dream for a third time is incredible. And sometimes it's lost on me how crazy that is, that I'm not doing this for just the first time, which is a huge accomplishment in and of itself, or a second time, but I'm getting to represent Team Canada at the Olympics and our Canadians coast to coast to coast for a third time. And it's such a blessing and it's an honor. And I'm really excited to get to do this again.
Incredible. What sort of feedback or messages have you been from friends, family, and fans, since the announcement, but also since Redemption Run came out? It's available on CBC Gem right now. And I'm so glad that in Canada we're doing, something really special to support our athletes. And, one of the things that I learned while watching it is that, the financial struggles when it comes to the funding. And I think it's really important to talk about that. So I'd love to hear what is some of the feedback that you've been receiving.
Yeah, I mean, overwhelming support. It's really cool. I come from a small town agricultural community, grew up on a family farm that was homesteaded by my great great grandpa almost 100 years ago now. And so that community is tight knit. I'm also really connected in my like local church communities. And so I've been really just feeling the love lately as people are sending me like messages of encouragement, messages of good luck, just messages of being proud of me, and had some opportunities to get to share different things with like different media sources and stuff. But like you said, it takes a community. Sport in Canada isn't easy and it's not cheap. And I spent approximately $70,000 this year to get to the Olympic start line. And that wouldn't be possible apart from the corporate partners that I have and the individual donors that have given of their own blood, sweat, and tears to finance what I'm doing. And so,
Mm,
yeah, and I think that's just so deep too. Like historically, when government funding came in and our sport was supported more so that way. It's not that it wasn't supported by Canadians coast to coast to coast. But it was out of taxpayer dollars, right? But now that we're fundraising and having to, find people to attach to our journey, there's like individual faces and stories that are connected to mine, which is so much more deep and impactful. And they're personally invested and personally cheering me on. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure that is probably at the back of your mind. I'd love to hear, and I'm sure folks who are athletes or not could perhaps learn from what you may share now. How do you balance that pressure of knowing that, okay, all these folks who
Mhm.
supported your journey, and not just them, but the entire world and all of Canada, and you're carrying that. Obviously,
Yeah.
like you said, this is not your first rodeo, it's not your first Olympics. So you have certainly competed at this level. What is the mindset that you're going
Yeah,
into these games with?
totally. I mean, there's a saying in sports where we talk about pressure as a privilege. And really, at the end of the day, focusing on the process, I guess, is how I'm going into these games. We can't control outcomes as much as we would like to, but we get to control how we show up and what we do in terms of inputs. And so my goal going into Cortina is to continue to focus on the things I can control, to have, 4 good race runs in the monobob race, 4 good race runs in the two-man race, to go in knowing that, I've put in the work in terms of physical training, in terms of driving seat time and learning the Cortina track specifically, as have my teammates and the staff around me and all the people that we have on the ground. We're working together to make this, the best result possible. And I hope that means that I get to bring home an Olympic medal. But if I'm shy and I come home with 4 great runs, the beauty of having this community so invested in my journey is I've learned that they're not just invested in an outcome, they're invested also in the process, and they're invested in me and they believe in me. And the reason they've invested
Mm,
isn't because I could win an Olympic medal. It's because they've chosen to like partner with my story and how that story can impact other people. And so that's really beautiful. So I think it's not necessarily pressure that's on top of me, but it's actually something that's lifting me up.
that's really beautiful. Very well said. I love that. Um, so it's not going to be your first time in Cortina.
Mhm.
You've been there before, and that's fantastic. And I was really hoping to connect with you all in December because I was in Whistler and I heard you guys were practicing there. And I was speaking to Leslie from Promotion People, but I think the wires didn't cross. Also, my schedule during the festival was really busy. So I'm glad we
Mhm.
could make this happen now. And I'm really looking forward to doing a face to face in person. And I'm getting to Milan mid February and I'll be there till the
Oh, nice.
beginning of March. So if you're coming through Milan, I'll be bringing my equipment. I'd love to do an in-person sit down. Um, for those individuals listening to our conversation later on, because this is on Zoom, what would you like to tell them about your sport? What would you like to tell them about bobsleigh? Because for
Mhm.
me, as I'm watching, I feel like it's such a daredevil. I feel you guys are so brave, and it's as it just looks incredible. I feel like it's action hero stuff.
Yeah. It's bobsled is speed, power, and precision on ice. Essentially, it's like how fast can you get something really heavy moving before you jump in and maneuver it down this kilometer-long ice slide. And the winner is who can do that the fastest at the Olympics, 4 runs combined. And so it's not just like, do you have, a one-off good run? It's like the combined time of 4 runs. So anything and everything can make a difference. Our sport is measured in hundredths of a second. And when we're going 130, 140 kilometers per hour, that is not a lot of time or space that these margins are. And so, yeah, our sport, it is a thrill because the margins are small, because it is so fast, because it is so much power. Our sleds weigh a minimum of 170 kilos in the two-man event, which is about 350 pounds or approximately the same weight as an upright piano. So picture sprinting with that downhill before driving this NASCAR race car down this icy chute. So yeah, there's a lot of adrenaline in our sport, but there's also like precision. Yeah, and so it's like this weird dynamic, especially as a pilot. Like my job is to accelerate that sled and you're going all out. Then you jump in, you take a deep breath, and now it's like these really small, like finite movements that you're doing with your hands, and it's like a dance almost at the track where the track's leading and you're just kind of like adding little pieces of like precision or flair to make sure that the sled's going down as fast as possible. Because the name of the game is less is more. So essentially, the fastest drivers are the people that have figured out how to do the least amount of driving without having taps or skids.
Oh my goodness. And I guess tuning out the outside noise, right? Because there's all these fans, all these folks watching. I'll tell you, I was sharing this with Justin as well as Tyson. I decided to join a bunch of different Facebook groups of fans and folks coming from all over the world for Milano Cortina.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of the groups that is really, really active, folks started sharing that, hey, who is here supporting Team Canada? And then next thing you know, we're joining a WhatsApp group. And now it started with like 10 people. Now it's like almost 60 of us and growing on a
Wow.
daily basis. And there's people who are like, hey, I'm originally from Mexico, but I'm a new Canadian and I'm coming from Toronto.
Wow.
From Middle East, or I'm coming from here. Tags and like, I have my jacket that I forgot to like wear for our interview, but it's just sitting off camera because I got all these like vintage Team Canada jackets and toques
So
and
fun.
hoodies and
Yeah.
whatnot. I would love to hear from you. What does it feel like when you see Canadians,
Yeah.
holding the Canadian flag, wearing like, Team Canada gear? Tell me about that experience. Like, what does it feel like for you when you
Mhm.
see, you don't know their name, but they're here cheering for you?
Yeah, the Olympics is such a special time and space because whether it's people in person or people back home sending you like messages of good luck. I remember like my first games, there was one of the local elementary schools that made me a book, like a hand-drawn book, and every kid in the class wrote like good luck, Melissa. And then after I competed, had another picture that was like good job, well done. And it's like it's things like that that are just, I mean, it makes you emotional. It's so beautiful to get to inspire people, to have that, the backing of people, to have that encouragement. Like I think this is Canadian, what it means to be Canadian at its best. And it's people, we whether we've met them or not, we share this. And so to get to be a small piece of like what that means and to represent that is really, really, really special. Yeah, it's so special.
That's so beautiful. What message would you want Canadians watching from home to feel as you go on this journey?
Hmm. I think one of the big things for me is community. Like it took a community to get to the Olympics. And I remember we were at the Olympic Labs, which is like this media summit and a Team Canada kind of gathering back in the spring. And we had some of the local First Nations people come and they were talking about like one of the original, I think it was an Iroquois word, Kanata, I mean, Canada, which meant village. And it was really powerful for me just to reflect on how it's like, I mean, our name Canada is like built on this like word that meant community and meant village.
Mm.
And so to know that it's like I wear my village on my back and my village has me and it has my back. It's just, it's so cool. And so for people watching to know that they are a part of it, but also for them to kind of look around them and be like, wow, what is the power of community and what role do I play in my community? Because we are a big part of this big, like, national village. And so for me, that's one of those things is like there's strength in numbers, there's strength in community. And so I want people watching to know that they are a part of our community. They are a part of what we are doing on the snow and on the ice and in the rink and
Mhm.
all these things. And to also be inspired to then show up in their communities and to rely
That's
as well.
that's so beautiful. I got chills a few times, and you did make me a little emotional as you were sharing that, because it's really beautiful, and the message that you're sharing, it goes also beyond the Olympics. It goes beyond the
Yeah.
games. It's something that you can carry in your day-to-day life. I know you're really busy and so much going on. How is packing going? I have a struggle packing light.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm already planning like 2 suitcases and a carry-on. It's just like I don't know how to. I went to Whistler for the film festival. It's like 2 suitcases. It's like this for 5 days.
Yeah.
So how's
Well,
packing going for you?
thankfully, most of our packing is actually done way back in the fall when we ship our bobsleds overseas. So we pack all of the essentials that we need for sport in those shipping containers. So it's all in Europe waiting for us. And then, of course, Team Canada has the Lululemon partnership. And so we get an entire suitcase full of Team Canada kit when we get to the games. So I'm packing very light. I'm traveling with a half empty suitcase so I can bring some of those things that were in our shipping container home. So I think we're slow boating the sleds back. So otherwise I won't see those things until like July. But yeah.
Incredible. You must be really looking forward to the opening ceremony.
Yes.
Mariah
Yeah. So
Carey,
opening,
Andrea Bocelli. It's going to be incredible. I feel jealous. I'm not going to be there.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Even the athletes, we don't fully know what the opening ceremonies is going to look like. This is the first time where they've done like multiple campuses essentially or satellite communities for opening ceremonies. So I'll be in the Cortina village for opening ceremonies. Each athlete village is going to kind of walk in separately. I don't know how they're going to kind of like bring those things together. And it'll be interesting to also see on like a Team Canada level, like one of the highlights is rallying as Team Canada walking in together, seeing that big sea of red. So like I'm very curious to see not only at the like international Olympic opening ceremonies level, but also at that Team Canada level, like how there's a challenge with there being 4 villages with us being literally spread all across northern Italy. So it'll be really unique to see how it comes together. But I'm excited.
That sounds beautiful. And thank you for sharing that, because I was curious. Okay, you guys are going to be in Cortina, but are you flying to Milano first? How is that
Yeah.
working? Because Milan, Cortina, it's quite far. It's
It is
quite
quite
far.
far. Yeah. And then closing is all together in
In
Verona.
Verona.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So, but yeah, opening ceremonies is spread out all across the country in these different Olympic villages. So it'll be interesting to see
Incredible.
how it comes together. Yeah.
Incredible. And here in Vancouver, I was actually just speaking to Nathan Clement, a Paralympic medal from Paris 20, a cauldron lighting, and he's a part of that. So I'm hoping to go there and film a little bit and, get into the spirit of the Olympics. And hopefully I'll get up early to watch the ceremony live. And I will be closely watching and cheering on, and then also getting my tickets because I am getting to Milan mid-February.
Exciting. Yeah.
So before we let you go, we want to talk a little bit more about Redemption Run, because Redemption Run is available on CBC Gem, and it's an incredible series, 3 episodes, and they're an hour long each, produced through Tyson Hepburn, through Tyson Media, and then Justin Cripps was a co-producer. For the viewers who haven't had an opportunity to watch Redemption Run yet, what would you suggest to them why they need to watch Redemption Run to support Team Canada going into the Olympics?
Yeah, buckle up for like an amazing behind the scenes ride. Episode 1 is out in Whistler, so that's where we did like our preseason training last year, and it gives you a lot of like the how does bobsled work? What does it take to be a bobsled athlete? We have everything from like I'm going into my 3rd games, I'm on the show, to like brand new rookie athletes. So you get to go on the ride of what it looks like to be a bobsled athlete. We have there's like amazing POVs. And then there's also these really beautiful, heartwarming stories of resilience. Like, what does it look like to crash a bobsled at 150 kilometers per hour and get back in? And
I
we
don't
talk
want
about
to
those
know. I
processes.
don't want to know.
Yeah. So I would encourage everybody to watch it, to get to see not only behind the scenes in terms of our sport, but also, the passion the athletes have for our sport and what motivates us as people.
Incredible. Lastly, what does redemption mean to you?
Yeah. That's actually, it's funny because that's a hard question for me. Um, I've been very blessed in my sport journey, but there's been lots of highs and lots of lows. And going into these games, I wouldn't quote unquote say I'm looking for redemption, but at the same time, I'm also like expecting and hoping that this is going to be my best games yet. And so that can look like what it is in terms of like community and team, in terms of results. Um, but yeah, I've been very blessed in my career, and I like redemption almost makes it sound like vengeance or something like that in some ways. But yeah, I'm just so thankful. But bobsled is like a sport where a lot of people would get into it from a different sport. I was a university track and field athlete before I got into bobsled. And so, yeah, bobsled is that beautiful second chance that, I mean, a lot of us didn't get in our first sport. And I mean, I have a third opportunity to go enjoy and represent Canada at an Olympic Games. And so, how beautiful is that?
Incredible. Well, I'm so excited to come on down to Italy and cheer you in person. I'm hoping I can make it to Cortina, but no promises yet. It's a big journey, it's a far journey. But just
It
know
is
that I will be wearing the Team Canada jerseys, the toques, the gear, the flags, everything. Everything
amazing.
Team Canada is going to be on. I'm going to be cheering for you guys. I truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'm just know that a lot of us, including me, and I feel I'm not the most athletic person, but I get very excited, especially about the Olympics and these sporting events, because to see the dedication, the focus, the
Mhm.
single mindedness, the resilience, and then to perform under pressure. And like you said, and to meet these individuals, to sit down with these athletes, like in
Mhm.
Paris, I had an opportunity to my way into the Olympic Village and, living spaces and eat the food and so many of them, they're just so happy to just even be there and then to represent your country. It's just such an amazing opportunity to not just connect with other Canadians, but also
Mhm.
other athletes and perhaps have those lifelong
Totally.
friendships.
Yeah.
Well, really appreciate your time, Melissa. I'm hoping to do this in person soon, whether in Milano or Cortina or in Vancouver. Thank,
Amazing.
thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the recording. Okay, stopping. Stop.